Save the Second is a pro-Second Amendment organization. Through good or bad, we're here to help drive and save the NRA from itself and the Second from the infighting that happens among the Second Amendment supporters. Because without the Second, the rest will fall. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual co-host and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Save the Second or their employers. This show offers commentary on the latest news associated with the NRA and Save the Second's endeavor to promote a strong, relevant, effective, and accountable NRA.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
All right, say it one more time, Levi.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
All right, buddy, go upstairs real fast. Welcome to the Save the Second podcast. This is Thanksgiving week, so I have my son with me. Hey, we're getting ready for the holiday. It's going to be great. This is episode 12 of the Save the Second podcast. Today is Monday, November 25th. In this episode, we'll be a little bit less formal and whatnot than we have been previously. Andy Lander will be joining us hopefully soon. He's having some technical difficulties. If he's unable to get those squared away, big deal. I'll get you up to speed. Okay, my name is Ron Carter. I'm the vice president of Save the Second. I helped found Save the Second. The whole idea is to make the NRA strong, relevant, effective, and accountable. Essentially, an overhaul of what the NRA is currently. Yeah, today is 1 week from when we started a challenge on our Facebook page. The challenge is to find a picture of the NRA president. Now, before I tell you more, let me tell you about some of the prizes. Okay, one grand prize winner, one person, the first person who finds this particular picture will win $100 in a gift card from Blue Alpha Gear. Okay. Moving on, a $30 gift card from Cedar Valley Outfitters. They're out of Iowa. A $25 gift card from deguns.net. A $10 Amazon card from TechCat. And a free firearms course or class from Silver Mountain Instruction. Okay? That's a lot to win. So you're saying, well, why hasn't anyone won in 7 days? It's funny you should mention that. The challenge isn't that hard. It shouldn't be that hard, at least. The challenge is to find a picture of the NRA president, Carolyn Meadows, holding a firearm. Any picture of her holding a firearm. Doesn't matter. Any picture. Find a picture anywhere. For the past 7 days, people have tried to find a picture. On Monday last week, the initial announcement for this challenge that I made, you may have seen it. I don't know. I hope you saw it. It was it's completely underwhelming. I explained that years back, the then NRA president, Charlton Heston, he did a famous speech, okay? He had on stage, this was at one of the NRA meetings, I think it was one of the annual meetings, he had a musket. Now, of course, I have a clear and safe Glock 19 Gen 3 in my hands that I've done a little bit of work to, but I'll demonstrate exactly what he said. He had that musket in his hands, Charlton Heston did, the president then of the NRA. He had it, he held it up, and he said, "From my cold, dead hands." Okay. That, as I explained in the video, that was a huge rallying cry. And for years, you would hear people say, "From my cold, dead hands." And it came from Charlton Heston, who was the NRA president at the time. Carolyn Meadows, Carolyn Dodgden Meadows, is the current NRA president. So many people know very little about her. A ridiculously small amount. In fact, I tried to search as much as I could about her, and I wasn't able to find much. In fact, it really shocked me how little I found. And I wanted to find pictures of her holding a firearm. I wanted to see if she was a shooter. if she was like me, if she goes to the range, if she competes. And she mentioned in several articles where she was quoted that she grew up doing some sort of competition shooting. I'm not exactly sure what competition shooting, but hey, that's awesome. I'm glad she did. She's around 80 years old now. She's in her 80s. What was that? 70 years ago, she did competition shooting. Hey, I don't want to disparage the age, because the age truly is not a factor in you doing the right thing. Age is not a factor, in my opinion, of, oh, here comes Andy Lander. Let me stop that thought. Mr. Andy Lander, by God, how are you?
I'm doing okay. How you doing?
Oh man, it's so good to see you. I was just talking about the challenge that we have going on, but we'll come back to that. Andy, I got to tell you, I just spent the weekend talking about you.
Oh geez. Oh, what'd you say?
Underwater BB stacking, loads of TPI, and loads of TSA. I tell you what, for those that might be watching this and have absolutely no clue what I'm talking about, why don't you fill people in on what TPI, TSA, underwater BB stacking, and your history there? Go for it.
All right. Well, first of all, before I get started, I'm sorry I'm late. I'm actually eating deer meat right now.
Oh.
It's jerky. It's really good. No, I've had a really, really frustrating week. So, yeah, I'm just kind of relaxing, just kind of chilling out here right now, laying on my bed. But anyway, so underwater BB stacking is just kind of a term I actually stole from Steve Hoback. It was just kind of one of those funny things that we always said in classes. But TPI is total participant involvement. And what did you say, TSA?
Yeah. Tell them, show them, ask them to perform the task.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't. Okay, that must be a Judson thing. But
okay.
I always my other thing that I stole from another training is MSU. So.
Oh, okay. Now you have to enlighten me that we didn't go over that one.
Make shit up.
Hey, improvise, adapt, overcome. I love it. So yeah, this past weekend I was helping my buddy Judson, who runs Silver Mountain Instruction, and he is an NRA training counselor. For those of you that don't know, the training counselors essentially make instructors. And Andy, you oversaw those training counselors become training counselors, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's kind of what I did for my entire career at NRA. So.
And that was over 13 years, right?
Well, roughly about 10. But yeah, I kind of flopped between different jobs and such. But yeah, that's kind of what I did. So.
Man. Yeah, that's amazing. And of course, there's so many people that don't know. There's like, what, 125,000 NRA instructors currently?
Correct. Yes. The training counselor cadre is roughly about 2,200. When I was there, it fluctuated between 1,800, about 2,200, and it really never went down, never went up. But that was pretty much the same throughout the entire time I was there.
So I've taken 2 instructor level courses from 2 different training counselors, 2 different TCs. I love both of them. I think they're amazing. Absolutely. And so I was invited to help my buddy Judson teach a basic pistol instructor certification course. And there goes all the firearms that Andy owns.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to do a theme, I had the
right.
I had the muzzle loader that I shot a deer with. I had my hunting rifle that I was actually wanting to shoot a deer with, and then I had my home defense gun. But yeah, probably leaning them up against the wall is probably not a good idea. So I'm gonna put them back to where they came from. So.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I've got 2 rifles behind me that are in a similar prop stuff. Been working on them, and I've got a couple handguns on my desk right here. Yeah, man, the class that we had 4 candidates to become NRA certified basic handgun instructors. It was awesome. Oh my goodness gracious. I love teaching so much, and especially these candidates that want to progress and want to teach others. Oh my goodness, man, I enjoy that so very much. We had 75%, of course, with 4 candidates. That's 3 candidates. 3 of the candidates nailed 100% nailed the shooting qualification with a cold gun.
Wow, that's pretty
Right?
good,
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you should have seen the smile on my face and on Judson's face. We're like looking at each other like, oh my good God. Yeah, it was wonderful. I enjoyed it so much. And congratulations on the deer, man. You said you got it with your muzzleloader?
Yeah. Actually, that's kind of what I was trying to show people. But I've never shot a deer with a muzzleloader before, and I'll be honest, I am not impressed. No, I shot. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm just totally. I've been running around like
You're fine,
crazy.
dude. You're fine. Yeah, carry on, man. Tell us about getting the deer.
Okay, so I'm hunting private land, really nice property, but he lets me hunt with a bow. I took a doe earlier this year with a bow. Never shot a deer with a bow. That was amazing. I mean, honestly, if you shoot a deer with a bow, like an actual bow, not a crossbow. No offense to any crossbow hunters. I'm not trying to dog on you all, but when you shoot a deer with a bow, it changes your life. I mean, it really does. It changes how you perceive everything, how you hunt, and it changes everything. So I shot a doe earlier this year, and I'll tell you, I've the adrenaline, the intensity to even do that, and it was just a doe, was incredible. So anyway, so I had a muzzleloader. The guy that I hunt, he lets me hunt muzzleloader and a bow. He doesn't let me hunt rifle because he just doesn't want it to. It's no big deal. But anyway, so I have this muzzleloader. It's a Traditions buckstalker, and I fired 3 rounds. I zeroed it, 50 yards, cutting out the 10 ring. Took it out. I was in a tree stand, and I was watching Star Wars, and looked to my right. All of a sudden, I see horns. So I put the crosshairs, and I had enough time to literally pick out where I wanted to shoot the deer. I mean, literally. I mean, I was looking at hair. Where did I want to put the bullet? So I pulled the trigger, and all of a sudden, smoke cleared, and I see this thing just boom, and I'm like, I literally, my heart sank, and I'm sitting there going, I've missed a deer before, and kind of going into another story where I hunt with my friends that I hunt with. If you miss a deer, we take shirt tails. So we pull out the shirt, we cut the shirt off, and we write down when you missed it, what you missed it with. I've only lost 1 shirt tail my entire hunting career, and honestly, that was because my buddy was bugging me, and I always kind of bragged. I said, "Look, I don't miss deer. I don't miss a lot." And so one day he got kind of upset. I took an 8-inch blackout, and I was shooting at a couple deer that were 300 yards away with an 8-inch blackout. Okay. So I missed. So he cut my shirt tail. But anyway, so I shot at this deer. It just took off running, and my heart sank. I called everybody I knew. I said, dude, I don't even know. I don't know how to explain this. I said, I literally came home and probably for about 4 hours was watching YouTube videos on people shooting deer with muzzleloaders. I looked up my ballistics. I entered every data in I could. I said, there is absolutely no way that I missed that thing. So I called my buddy who's big on shirt tails, and I told him. He said, yeah, you owe me a shirt tail. And I said, there's no way I missed that. And so I went out the next day, and literally 5 feet from where I stopped looking, it was behind a bush. So, and it was exactly where I was aiming. So, yeah, I was, I was kind of upset I didn't find it that evening, but anyway, I still found it. But big 5-pointer. I mean, I don't hunt for horns. Can't eat the horns. So
yeah, I noticed that that's the size in the picture that you shared. I mean, that was a big buck. I mean, maybe not the horns, but I mean, what were you guessing on the weight? How heavy was it?
it was every bit of 130 pounds, stressed out. I mean, it was a big deer. I mean, I couldn't lift it, get up to my tree. I did skin it in my front yard in Sterling. You know, I had a couple neighbors that I actually came out and kind of looked at me like I was crazy. But no, I just it was a heavy deer. It was a heavy deer. So, but no, I was happy.
Yeah, man, I grew up hunting in Arkansas. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take my ears off and show you one of my sets of horns.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is going to be really great for the people that are listening on the podcast, right? Oh, look at this, guys. Yeah, as they're listening. No, this guy right here.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is what I would refer to as a typical Arkansas whitetail buck. The inside points really like to curve in, and generally the tines are very, very vertical, very straight. So this guy, I mean, granted, it's not like a Boone and Crockett buck, right? But this is the biggest, or rather the largest buck that I ever took with a muzzleloader. So yeah, it scored, and for people listening, if you're familiar with the scoring of horns, it scored 97 2/8 gross. I think it had maybe 1 or 2 points deduction, but yeah, I mean, hunting is amazing. That's what I grew up doing, and of course in Arkansas, like if you're not hunting, are you really from Arkansas? Yeah.
Before I came on this show, I'm sitting there. I was rushing, and I'm sitting there eating, and I'm eating a meatloaf that I made with venison. I'm sitting there going, if you're just a shooter, how do you not hunt? I mean, no offense to anybody.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there eating this, and I'm like, man, this is like woods cow. You know, I mean, you cannot get any purer than this. I mean,
yeah, pure organic. I mean, the finest choice of meat that you want. I mean, come on, tenderloins, give me a break, buddy. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, it's hard to beat very good wild game taken. Yeah.
No,
totally agree.
Yeah. I mean, I do a lot of jerky. Actually, today I was kind of cutting up all the front shoulders and the quarters that I was doing, and I usually take the back straps, I take the inner loins, and then I pretty much grind everything. I mean, I just I do meatloafs, I do hamburgers, so many people ask me for jerky. You know what? I'm going to stop telling people that I hunt because all I hear is, "Hey, you got any jerky?" And it's just like, I literally, I think I made 5 pounds a couple of days ago, and I probably gave away 3 pounds just because people came up to me, "Hey, you got any of that jerky?" It's like crack cocaine, I mean,
oh my gosh, you're so right. Well, especially if you get the seasoning just right in the dehumidifier. Oh, buddy.
Well, I have a dehumidifier, and Amazon is amazing. I mean, you Google on Amazon, deer jerky mix. I mean, I just buy the pre-made mix and throw it in there. I think the recent one I did was Cajun spicy, and it was unreal. I mean, that's what I'm eating right now. But anyway, so I'm just, I'm tickled pink. I got the whole week off. I actually might go hunting tomorrow. I might go hunting Wednesday. I don't know. I'm trying to fill my freezer after the whole couple weeks with my dog. I'm trying to subsequent some income and shoot animals to do that. So
yeah, absolutely, man. I'll tell you what. Before we wrap today up, I'd definitely like to hear an update on Norway and all that. But I tell you what, before we get sappy and whatnot and get teary eyed, because I definitely will. Carolyn Meadows, president of the NRA. I can't find a picture of her holding a firearm anywhere. We've got a challenge going on with several companies that have chipped in, just as a means to incentivize people looking to find a picture of Carolyn Meadows holding a firearm. And so far, no one has won in 7 days. Andy, I don't know much about Carolyn Meadows. What do you know about her?
I don't know much, but the last couple of weeks, I've gotten to the point where I'm just embarrassed. I mean, it's literally embarrassing. I see everything that's coming out. I see, the Wayne LaPierre thing where 57% of his income, or excuse me, he got a 57% raise. I see Josh Powell got a big raise, and I'm literally embarrassed. Right now in my state, we're looking at a huge problem. Virginia is going to be the example for the rest of the country to follow. And the NRA is in this state. And I hate to say it, but it looks like we're going to lose. And I mean, I don't want to say, the NRA's literally done nothing. I'm starting to look at organizations like Virginia Citizens Defense League. I don't even like them. I don't, but they're doing something, they're fighting back. It's depressing. I follow NRA on Facebook. I follow VCDL, and NRA's been putting out memes and stuff like that, and say, but VCDL, there are people that I don't even like that I'm sitting there. I'm having to apologize. Look, I'm sorry. How do I get in this fight with y'all? And
yeah,
I'm depressed. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, it's sad. First thing I did after the election, I called my father and I said, when are we buying land in West Virginia? And unfortunately, we're running out of places to run to. I'm looking at, I don't even want to say it on air, but how much investment do I have that I'm going to lose? It's sad.
Yeah.
So,
it's absolutely sad. You're so right on the money. And no, I get it. There's NRA employees and grassroots folks on the ground in Virginia. I don't want to discount them and their efforts, but we can obviously the fruits of what's going on at the top of the NRA. And I mean, right now it's just lawsuit after lawsuit and giving pay raises to people who absolutely don't deserve it and should be fired.
Well, none of this is the people at the bottom. I mean, I've had, and I'm not going to say any names, but I've had friends that have, that send me messages that are just absolutely, distraught, and people that have signed NDAs and things like that. And it's sad. It really is.
Yeah. And,
so short of the Supreme Court coming out and saying you can't do this, I don't know what we're going to do. I really don't.
I mean, that seems to be almost like the hope is that, oh, well, we have Supreme Court justices, everything will be fine. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm not a politician. I don't understand what's going on. I do know that our NRA desperately needs some help, and it needs our involvement. And of course, Carolyn Meadows, who is the president of the NRA, she exemplifies that in my eyes. She's not a part of the gun community. I mean, if you were, how many friends do you know that are even casual shooters that have, one or two pictures of them holding a firearm? I mean, I can't count any of my friends. In fact, I've even got some liberal friends that anti-gun liberal friends, I'd specify anti-gun liberal friends that have pictures of them holding firearms. And here, the president of the NRA, you can't find a single one. Yeah. What do you think, Andy?
I mean, I was there, for 13 plus years. I don't even know who the lady was until she got elected as president. I didn't know who she was. So, we heard her speak at the board meeting, and I remember her saying, "If I go to jail, bring me chocolate chip cookies."
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. Okay, so how are you going to fight back? I'm at a loss. I really am. I mean, it's literally like they're twiddling, they're whittling sticks for their marshmallows. I mean,
Yeah. Now, I think the thing that sets us apart, that really separates us from anybody else. I mean, you can go into the comments section on our Facebook page and you can see so many of the same sentiments, like, this is crazy. And you'll see folks that are saying, absolutely not. I'm done with the NRA. I'm gone. I'm going to GOA. I'm going to FPC. I'm going to Second Amendment Foundation. I'm going somewhere else. The thing that sets us apart is, well, frankly, I'm a member of other organizations. You can be a member of as many pro 2A organizations as you darn well please, and I would encourage you to do that. But we have a plan for fixing the NRA. And granted, it's a plan. And to see that plan through, we have to have your help. One of the things that we did today was we shared a meme. And I'm going to put that up here. So for those of you listening that can't see it, it's a common meme template. It's the kid that is standing at the stairs, and instead of placing his first step on the stairs at the first rung of the stairs, he takes this enormous step like to the fourth or fifth, platform. And on each of these platforms, you have different sayings. So the title of the meme is "How Not to Fix Our NRA." The kid that's making this enormous step to the fourth rung instead of stepping on the first row of the stairs, he is our NRA member. The first rung of the stairs, the first step would be to write your NRA board of directors. The second step is to show up at the NRA board meeting. The third step is to show up at the NRA members meeting. And then, of course, the fourth step is to leave the NRA. So this NRA member is skipping everything and just leaving because he's fed up. He's not taking the time to write his directors. He's not taking his time to, go to the NRA board meeting. He's not taking his time to show up at the members meeting. Andy, this was a pretty interesting one. We got a lot of comments, a lot of interactions on this. I'm curious on your thoughts of this meme. Go for it.
So one of the problems that I see is the directors won't even talk to anybody anymore. Carrie Lightfoot, they won't even engage with anybody. I mean, so as far as that first step's concerned, I'm at a loss. Again, these folks are literally, I'm not even sure. It's just, they're there. They're not doing anything. They're just occupying space, really.
Yeah.
They're Wayne lackeys, and they're just going to say, yes, sir, drive on, and we'll be happy to pay you another $5 million or $2.7 million, whatever he's making. As far as the other stuff's concerned, write your board members. Again, they don't respond. I mean, the only couples that did was was Tim Knight and Sean Maloney and other folks like that, Mr. Brown. But I guarantee right now, if you reach out to these board members, they're going to respond and say, you're a Bloomberg spy.
Yeah.
I mean, and the sad thing is that if something happens where we lose we lose everything, they're going to, oh my gosh, see, it was everybody else that caused this,
Right. Not
that you can take responsibility for being in charge for 135 years or whatever, but yeah.
So I want to show something else. We put this in our Friends of Save the Second Facebook group. I noticed that Robert Brown, we mentioned Robert Brown just a minute ago. Robert Brown is a current NRA board of director. He was one of the 4 that called for an independent audit. And he was sharing an article without comment, just the article. Now, the article comes from thetrace.org. We all know thetrace.org is not the most reliable source for unbiased news. They're owned by Bloomberg. They have an agenda for gun control. But the title of this particular article is NRA Moves to Hide Nuggets from Wayne LaPierre's Deposition. If you read the article, it's interesting. The author of the article, his name is Will Van Sant. Ironically, Andy, you and I were hanging out with him. He showed up at the NRA fall board meeting, and the guy didn't know what was going on. And furthermore, he had very little experience with firearms. Do you remember inviting him to the range?
Yeah, I actually do. I kind of wish he would take me up on it. I mean, I remember he was very timid, and I said, hey, I'll take the shooting. And, I'm not just some lackey that's going to take some guy shooting and put a 44 mag in his hand. I'll step him up, but and kind of experience. What's funny about this is about 2 weeks ago, I did an interview with New York Times. And I know where you're kind of going with this, because I did read some of the comments. I saw some people that were basically like, "Oh, it's fake news." Okay, yeah, but they got some stuff right. What are you gonna automatically say that the title is everything's fake because you saw where it came from? I mean, I sat down with probably 4 guys from the New York Times. I actually tape recorded the whole conversation. Didn't tell them, but kind of they were impartial. I mean, or excuse me, they were not biased, and they tried to look like they tried to catch me on some stuff, and it was about the whole article, I guess, was about 80% guns and things like that, and I didn't take the bait. I basically said, well, I'm not worried about a guy making 80% lower in his garage. The cradle of the Second Amendment has been that since ever we've been a country, you've been allowed to build your own gun. And so I see these comments from people that automatically say, well, that's fake news, or we should discard that. Well, that's just literally sticking your head in the sand. I mean, literally just all of a sudden you see where it came from and you just stick your head in the sand. So,
yeah. And in this particular post that Robert Brown, by the way, Robert Brown is a prior service colonel, Army colonel. And for those of you that don't know, Mr. Soldier of Fortune, that's him. He was a Green Beret guy, Mr. Pineland Actual. I think he's awesome. And of course, like I said, he was one of the four that called for independent audit of the NRA. In that particular post, there are comments down below of not only another NRA director, but two NRA directors, David G. Coy and Todd Rathner. David Coy, who has not responded to me at all in any of the emails that I've sent him, is here. And he says, consider the source. The trace is a Bloomberg propaganda machine. And I don't necessarily disagree. On the other hand, let me read Robert Brown's response to David Coy. Robert Brown says, where are their alleged, quote unquote, facts wrong? And nothing. No response. This is a couple of days ago. Todd Rathner says, also consider the fact that this is ACMAC complaining. Ackerman McQueen, which of course, Ackerman McQueen is involved in a lawsuit. The NRA is suing Ackerman McQueen. So, I mean, there's some stuff there, but Wayne LaPierre gave a deposition, and I think you should go and read that article. At least read Wayne LaPierre's quotes, read between the lines, understand that the trace has a bias, that they have an anti-gun agenda, but their facts, their quotation from Wayne LaPierre's deposition is in there. And I got to tell you, I haven't seen Wayne LaPierre's deposition. I gave a deposition. I still haven't even received my copy yet of my deposition. I'd be kind of curious to go through and look and see how many times I mispronounced a word, if they have the typos in there, or some of the silly things that I do, repeating myself and saying uhs, and I don't know. I've never given a deposition before. That was my first time, right? So I have no clue what to expect. Wayne LaPierre's deposition isn't available, I guess, to view it unless you're privy to that. You have, some sort of journalistic privilege or something. This is where we're seeing facts that we otherwise will not see, because the NRA will not tell you what Wayne LaPierre said in his deposition. The NRA won't tell you the current facts concerning the NRA versus Ackerman McQueen. They'll give you bullet points that are to their advantage. All right, they're spinning the story in their narrative. And, oh my goodness, I wish we had an unbiased source where we could really critically look at all of this information in order to decide for ourselves. Andy, do you know of any source that's unbiased that we could see any of that?
No. No, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know how to go into it, but no, you mentioned some names, and every time I hear more names like Todd Rathner, Todd Rathner was the guy that had the audacity at the board meeting to stop me and say, Chris Cox was the problem, and we got rid of Chris, and his exact words were, everybody in NRA ILA hated him. And I listened to him for a couple minutes, and I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, yeah. Okay. And I said, well, let me stop you there, sir. I said, the problem with your statement is the fact that my wife worked for Chris Cox, and she loved him, and everybody she knew loved him. And I knew a lot of people that worked for Chris that were big fans. So, as far as getting biased from both sides, I don't know where you go. I really don't. I mean, honestly, the court, it's going to come out in court, and the lawsuits are going to tell us the story. I mean, it's I've gotten to the point where I don't trust what one side says, and I honestly don't trust what the other side says.
Right. I think the truth is in the middle somewhere, and both sides have their own reasons for trying to say something in some way or another. We've tried to compile as much information on our website. You can go to savethe2a.org, and we have a why reform page where we list all of the directors who have resigned. We list all of the resignations / suspensions, like Chris Cox. We give articles and whatnot. So you can go and you can decide for yourself through all these articles. Man, we've got over 100 different articles on there, and we still haven't updated the 2018 tax filings that came out this past week. If you haven't seen that, man, you got to go check it out and look at the tax filings. Look at the 990 for yourself. John Richardson on the blog, Only Guns and Money, he had a fantastic overview of that. You should go and check that out. Educate yourself on that. Now, I think the vast majority of us have reached the conclusion, the clear and convincing conclusion, that we need to do something in our NRA. It is messed up. There are massive problems, and we need solutions. So that's where Save the Second comes in. That's what we're trying to do, right? So Save the Second, we've got 5 goals. They're really easy. Term limits for the NRA Board of Directors, attendance policy for the NRA Board of Directors. Heaven forbid we have directors that never show up. There's a few of them. We want them to have a smaller board, for one. I mean, it's 76 seats on the NRA Board of Directors. Now we have 8 resignations, and the current ballot for NRA Board of Directors, 82% of those people that are on the ballot are going to be elected onto the board regardless. 82%. So if you've been nominated by the NRA, that's pretty much a check mark. You're going to be on. Okay, so that's a problem. We have to have a smaller board. We have to have a board that attends. We have to have term limits, no more than 12 years. We have a term limit petition on our website. If you're an NRA voting member, get on our website. You've got just less than a week now to finish those petitions. We need those petitions by December 2nd so we can go through them, organize them, get them squared away so that we can take them to Virginia to the January 11th NRA Board of Directors meeting in Tyson's Corner. That's January 11th. You should consider attending. Beyond that, we want to have the NRA have an exclusive 2A focus. Okay, we don't want them talking about euthanasia or youth in Asia, stuff like that, right? We want them to be focused on the right of the people to keep and bear arms not being infringed. And lastly, we need involvement. We need NRA member engagement. 94% of NRA voting eligible members did not vote in last year's NRA director election. 94%. Only 6% voted. So if only those 6% voted, are those the only persons who are active in the NRA? With 5 million members, only 6% are doing anything? Those are the 5 goals that we want to see fixed. And if those are fixed, change will come. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, you want to change it, you got to vote the people in that you want. You got to vote people out. There's a lot of fluff on the board right now. You have a lot of people, a lot of yes men, a lot of yes women, people that are just going to follow status quo, and you got to get those people off. I mean, unfortunately, you have to engage these people. And I'm not just saying write them on Facebook. I'm saying when you go to a gun club and you see these people, you got to ask them hard questions, and the problem is these people like to hide, and I get them off if they're not supporting, and approach these people, have hard conversation with them, present facts. I mean, recently they just came out with the salaries of all the top executives. I mean, I looked at some of those numbers and I was shocked. I mean, you got people like Eric Frohart. God bless him. He was a Navy SEAL. I get it. Thank you for your service. But guy's making over $500,000. But at the same time, he was in charge of the biggest failure that the NRA ever saw. He was a director of training. He was also the director of a curriculum, director of training for Carry Guard. The guy's now the director of education training, making over over $500,000, and he's making more than his boss, Joe DeBurgelis. Joe DeBurgelis is the director of general operations. Not that I'm saying, what Joe. I don't really know what they pay, what you should be paying these folks, but honestly, director level positions like what Eric's doing, that's absurd. I mean, the guy's really tied into Josh Powell. I've heard mumblings, I've heard rumors that this is from board members that they're literally compensating these people because they don't want them to turn, with the lawsuits, like Josh Powell, they're paying him almost $1 million. This guy has failed at everything. Failed at his personal business. He's failed at other companies. He's literally dragged this is the reason that guy is the reason we're here right now. And the reason why we exist and the conversations we're having. And he's hiring guys that literally have little to no experience. I mean, don't quote me on this, but, Eric Frohart, to my knowledge, from what I remember, guy wasn't even a member, until he all became got on carry guard. I mean,
wow.
I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, it's ridiculous. I've gotten to the point where I'm literally shaking my head, going, when do we stop this? And just, I don't know.
And let's quantify some of those numbers real fast. I mean, you mentioned like a $500,000. Wayne LaPierre received $2.2 million in 2018. If you do a quick Google search, the average nonprofit CEO salary, which would be Wayne LaPierre, the average nonprofit CEO makes about $120,000 a year. Okay, $120,000 a year. That's a quick Google search. It could be wrong. I don't know. I mean, hey, it could be double. Who knows? I mean, it's 2019. It's not 2016, which is when apparently this particular figure was totaled. Wayne LaPierre's $2.2 million. Okay, that's a massive amount. Only $120,000. That would be 5%, a little less than 5% of Wayne LaPierre's paycheck. Wayne LaPierre is making 95% more than the average nonprofit CEO. That should be a kind of a red flag. And now, granted, I don't know what it takes to run, these high-speed, low-drag Navy SEAL carry guard courses. Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, that sounded very, very, very wrong of me. I make fun of my classes, when I'm teaching, to not be a space shuttle door gunner, right? I mean, teach to the students' level. Don't make yourself sound like you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. You're not. I guarantee you, Andy Lander can outshoot me. I'm certain of that. And I shoot pretty good. Okay, I don't have an inflated ego, but I'm confident in my abilities. Still, same thing, man. There's always somebody that can do a better job. I guarantee you that Wayne LaPierre is not the end all be all of 2A CEOs. He's not. Everybody can be replaced. And more to that, not only can everybody be replaced, everybody on this earth will die. When is the NRA going to pass the torch? Are they just going to let Wayne LaPierre serve until he's, in a wheelchair with dementia? I mean, the guy's, I think he's in his 70s now. Now, he's served as the NRA CEO / vice president since Stormin Norman Schwarzkopf led coalition forces into Kuwait. Over 31 years now. At what point do they pass the torch? And that's just in a logical frame. That's not even trying to figure in the corruption, the malfeasance, sexual harassment, from Josh Powell. And Josh Powell's there. By the way, if you're an NRA member, your NRA member dues went to settle Josh Powell's sexual harassment claim out of court, of course. Oh my goodness gracious. There is a lot wrong in the NRA. And we could probably go, we could continue all night long, Andy. Go ahead.
Well, look, times change, things change. I mean, when I can tell you when I was there, I got hired. I was in education training from 2004 to 2018. And I I had just come in education and training, and there was a guy named Craig Sandler, and he was the director of general operations before the guy that took over him, Kane Robinson, who was a former president of the NRA. And from what I understand, is Craig Sandler. This was 2004. I mean, we're talking literally 2000s. And he said that NRA will never teach a civilian how to draw a gun from a holster.
Are you kidding me?
No,
You're kidding me.
no, no.
How many millions of concealed handgun permit holders do we have in the United States?
Time out. So you had up until the 80s that, you had Marion Hammer and you had all these people fighting for concealed carry.
Right.
And then you had these guys that were running the operation side that literally said, we will never teach a civilian how to draw from a holster. Now, here's what's funny. In 2006, 2007, I was on the spearhead that was the first course that allowed civilian, or that the NRA put out and said, you can draw a gun from a holster. We're talking 20 years later. We're talking, concealed carry had already been on the books for, in a lot of states for 20 years. And all of a sudden we're going to come out with a course that 20 some years later to teach you how to use this holster, So,
wow.
I remember 2006, 2007, me and John Howard and a bunch of guys from education training, they wouldn't even give us the range at a good time. We had to go there at 11 o'clock at night. We brought in 125 trainers from all over the country. And from about 11 to 3 in the morning, we had to vet our program and teach these training counselors to become training counselors so they could go across the country and train instructors to teach people how to draw a gun from a holster.
Wow.
That's just like 12 years ago. And if you look at the other stuff that's being put out now, they have this, Brett Simon and these guys came out with the NRA concealed carry course. I mean, they're like decades behind the power curve, man. I mean, and it's great that they're bringing it out, but it's gotten to the point where it's a joke. It's a joke.
I got to listen to a little bit of the new NRA concealed carry course. It's supposed to be applicable in all 50 states. Apparently there's some
no, it satisfies the requirements. It's not valid.
Okay. Thank you. There's some nuances in there too, I'm sure. But on the Polite Society podcast, they talked about that. I guess it was 3-4 weeks ago. Scott Shot Grant. If you listen to that podcast, Scott Shot Grant, he's a TC. He's a good guy. He had nothing but good things to say about it. And one of the things that they did apparently in that course is that if you want to be an instructor, you first have to take the course as a student and pass. What a brilliant idea. I mean, why did it take that long to have that?
Well, hold on, because in personal protection outside the home, you had to do the same thing.
Right.
And look, I have not been through the NRA's concealed carry course. I did actually, before I left, I was helping with it very briefly. And what's funny is now that I'm in the security industry, every course that we do, before you become an instructor, you have to take. So, that's fine. Again, you're talking about decades behind the power curve. I don't see a problem with that. I mean, one of the issues you have is you have all these trainers out there that just think they're God's gift to gunslinging, and they just say, "Oh, the NRA." I mean, I was watching that. One of the funniest things, I almost died laughing is one of the times when Brett Simon was talking, and a guy that was in the front row raised his hand. He was from New Mexico, and he said, "Oh, are you going to vet anybody into this program?" And Brett was like, "No." And the guy's like, well, I'm not going to recommend it for New Mexico because I'm on the state committee. And I just literally am shaking my head going, that right there is what's wrong with instructors.
Absolutely.
I literally wanted to reach through my computer, grab the dude and just say, you are no longer an instructor anymore, period. I mean, we ran into the same problem. We unveiled personal protection outside the home because, we had 125 people that came to the program, and probably literally every one of them thought we were just going to be like, we would literally sign for them and say, here you go. Thank you for being it's like a participant trophy. And we had guys fail. that couldn't. We had a double distinguished Marine, that didn't pass. I mean, the guy was in his 70s and 80s, but we had guys that literally. I go back to the guy from New Mexico, and he said, "Well, I'm in a wheelchair, and I don't see how you won't let me teach this." And I'm sitting there going, "You obviously don't understand liability."
Right.
Because, if you have somebody that you're signing off on and saying, I taught this guy how to shoot standing, kneeling, and prone, and then they look at you and go, how'd you teach him that? And he said, well, I told him. How'd you demo it? I mean, you can't. So, people like that, it's just pure ego. And I literally, when I heard that, I just literally was laughing. And but anyway, so in the NRA's defense, that was pretty funny. But as far as the concealed carry course is concerned, I wish them the best. I hope it does take off. I think the numbers that they keep pushing and saying, "Oh, look at us," it's not really real. As far as you look at other organizations and people getting their permits, and you take classes from like guys like Steve Fisher or
Gabe White.
Those guys. They're crushing it. They don't even need to advertise. And as far as the curriculum is concerned.
All right. Well, and dude, I'm a training junkie. Okay. I personally, I want to go and take the NRA concealed carry, class. I really do. I'm a training junkie. I can tell you, Dave Spalding's combative handbook book, and Travis Haley stuff. Yeah, absolutely. And, Mike Green, my gosh, I want to hang out with him. I love shooting. I love training. I love some of the methodologies for teaching students. That's one of my passions. That's why I was out, teaching yesterday and the day before, 2-day class, man. It was awesome. I loved every freaking second of it. And I only shot 20 rounds total. And that was simply to demonstrate the course of fire for the shooting qualification. Oh man, I need to do more shooting. I really do. Andy, are you going to be able to do any more shooting besides, potentially hunting this Thanksgiving week?
I literally shoot every day.
Oh.
It's actually sad. It's really sad because I literally shoot about 50 rounds every day. Most of it's during demonstrations and teaching the officers that I work with how to shoot a drill. I've gotten to the point where I'm shooting the same thing over and over. I'm actually getting slower. I have to slow myself down to say, if I go this like blazing fast, then they're not going to see what I'm trying to demonstrate it. And by the way, all I've been shooting is a Glock. I hate Glocks. I'm just, I don't know. It's no offense to the Glock and no offense to anybody that loves them. I mean, I probably have more time on a Glock than any other handgun, but
my Glock is offended. Or I should say my Glocks are offended.
What's funny about this is I hate Glocks so much. The other day I'm sitting there going, and I can't afford anything right now, especially with my current situation. But I'm sitting there going, if I were to buy another gun right now, what would it be? And I'm sitting there like, man, I hate Glocks so much. I'm like, it'd be a Gen 5 Glock. Just because that's all I shoot now is Gen 5 Glock and in the comments, our friend Jameson.
Jameson Nethery, a good friend of ours, he's been commenting and watching. I love the guy to death. He says, "But perfection, Andy." Perfection.
Okay, all right. By I remember that article that was by HK because you suck and we hate you, and right. Or an open letter from the HK marketing department. But I don't know. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, I love those tangents, man. I love shooting, and of course, I want the NRA to prosper because I want the NRA training and education department to be industry leading. It's not industry leading. It needs to be. It should be. There's people that can make it be. Oh, yeah. So we've got some work to do. Please join us in trying to reform the NRA. One of the things that you can do is contacting your NRA board of directors. The 76 and 76 campaign is still going on. We're going to have a couple of day break because of the holiday, right? So you don't have to contact every director every single day up until the NRA board of directors meeting January 11th. But please contact your directors. Let them know what's on your heart, what you think. They're real people. Now they may disagree with you. They may not even read your email. They may not get back to you. That's a part of it. But guess what? When you see them in annual meeting, you shake their hand and say, "Oh, wow, Carrie Lightfoot, you couldn't respond to my letter that I wrote you or how many of the messages that I sent you, but you could criticize me and chastise me for trying to reform my NRA." Hint, that's what I'm going to be doing. Carrie Lightfoot, how dare you? Now, I need the how dare you gif. How dare you? No, I'm sorry. Andy, I tell you what, let's wrap up real fast. Okay, here's my mindset, folks. If you don't understand anything else about the reason that I'm trying to call to light the problems within the NRA and trying to reform the NRA, quote from John F. Kennedy: "To state the facts frankly is not to despair the future nor indict the past. The prudent heir takes careful inventory of his legacies and gives a faithful accounting to those of whom he owes an obligation of trust." Andy, before we close it out, man, I don't have tissues down here, but tell us about Norway.
He's getting stronger every day. I thank you for asking. I thank you. Oh man, I don't really want to talk about. Okay.
All right, I tell you what. I can keep my composure.
No. It's okay. It's okay. I'll tell you, the last week has been absolutely spiritual. I mean, I can't even describe it. The people that have been supportive, the moments I've had. I think I don't want to say this, but there's a time in everybody's life that God talks to you, and I'll tell you right now, God talked to me. I literally, I was broken. I sat down outside, didn't know what to do. I sat down, and I'm literally outside the emergency room, and I'm on a bench, and there's no one else around. I'm sitting there, and I'm crying, and I'm praying, and all of a sudden, just like you're talking to me right now, somebody said, "It's going to be okay." And I open my eyes and I'm looking around and I'm like, who said that? Literally, I don't know how else to, I've always believed in God. I've always believed that Jesus Christ was my savior. And but I'm sitting there like, he doesn't talk to me. I mean, like, and I'm looking around and I'm like, who said this? And all of a sudden I hear, "Andy, it's going to be okay." And again, it's just like you're talking to me right now. And I'm sitting there like, okay, I actually called my boss and I said, "Dude, I'm either on drugs or you might have to have me drug tested because I'm hearing voices." And what's weird is after I stood up, the next minute I go inside and I'm literally a wreck. I have not been that emotional. I mean, I don't remember ever being that emotional. And all of a sudden I heard is, "You need to be strong. You need to go in there and you need to support your wife. Period." And I stopped. I walked inside and everything. And she, in fact, before I got to the door, she came out and said, "We're going to be able to financially cover this through credit," which at the time I didn't even think we were going to be able to do that. We had started a Facebook fundraiser and people were donating. And I literally started that because I had nothing else. I had no other ideas how to do this. And I opened it and it was at like $3,300. I'm sitting there like, I don't know what to say. I mean, I literally, it's a miracle. That's all I can say. It's a miracle. And
so for those of you that don't know, Andy, his kids are dogs, and Norway is his baby. I have a chocolate lab. Of course, I've got actual kids and a wife, and I got to tell you, my dogs are a part of my family, 100%. Now, granted, I would definitely not place my kids on the same level as my beautiful Charlie chocolate lab. I would be absolutely devastated. I mean, ridiculously devastated. I love dogs so much. I'm a dog guy. I can't watch Old Yeller because I'm serious, man. Old Yeller, man, that's the one movie that I will not watch because I never can make it through without looking like a stupid, teenage girl that got her heart broken. But yeah, Norway is your puppy, man. I got the chance to meet Norway, and oh, what a sweetheart. So Norway is relaxing now, right?
Yeah. He's still not out of the woods yet. I mean, he's still. We're doing physical therapy with him every day. We're walking. Actually, today I walked him around the. To us, it's every yard is a progress. I mean, I walked him literally to the end of my driveway, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh my gosh, this is the greatest day ever!" I'm sitting there like,
and he was paralyzed when you first noticed the problem, right?
Yeah, he was 100% paralyzed. And what's even worse is the fact that that morning I had dropped my other dog off because what happened was a week before that, or actually 2 weeks before that, Norway's hip started to go. And he's a coonhound shepherd mix, so we figured it was like a hip dysplasia thing. So we went to the vet. The vet prescribed a drug called Galliprant, which is kind of like a glucosamine medicated pill. And he was taking that. Well, he took three pills, and then my female dog, Athena, actually ate the whole bottle. So Thursday night, actually she ate it on Wednesday. Called the poison control center. They told us to go see the vet. So I had to call to work and say I'm not going to be able to make it. I had to drop my dog off on Friday. So I dropped Athena off at 8 o'clock at the vet on Friday, went to the range, did our qualifications, trained a bunch of protective service officers, came home, got home about 2 o'clock, and I'm calling all my friends before and talking about hunting trips. And, oh, man, I can't wait to come out. And all of a sudden I come home, Norway's 100% paralyzed. I mean, literally couldn't use his back legs, couldn't use his front legs. I called everybody I knew. I called vets, and I'm literally crying, saying I'm going to have to put my dog down. I don't know what to do. And I called a neurologist and saying, I don't know what to do. Well, we ended up getting the neurologist in Rockville, which is literally 100 yards from where I work. Took him to the neurologist, and they did an MRI. They did a surgery, and they found a ruptured disc. So $12,000 roughly later. I mean, I can't even keep track of the vet bills anymore because, I didn't even mention this, but 2 months ago, our other dog, Pirate, ripped 3/4 of his penis off.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Yeah, that was about $3,000. So we had that. We had Athena, and we had Norway. So I think I was in debt, vet bill wise, about $17,000. So
man, I do not envy that at all.
Yeah,
like, I'm doing good just to keep up with ammunition on the range. Just going to buy it and whatnot. Imagine vet bills like that. Oh my goodness gracious, buddy.
Yeah, what's funny with Pirate is they sewed it back on, and I don't know. I tell people this has not been a good fall for me in animals. I mean, every animal I own has been in the vet and has had about a $3,000 plus vet bill. I mean, it's just bad. So, well,
I'm so happy for Norway. I'm glad you guys, I know what a tough time that is, man. And I'm so happy that hey, Norway's walking. That's just incredible. It really is. I'm so happy for that. And for folks, hey, we are real people. Okay. We have real lives. We have real jobs. We have real struggles. And I think we're all, we'll save the second, all of us, we are going to eat a lot of turkey in just a few more days.
Actually, yeah. I thought you were going to say venison because I'm sitting there going, yeah, we're real people. I'm sitting there like, I got to shoot. I've killed 2 deer, and I'm like, I got to kill another 2 deer so I can eat next year.
Right? Oh, buddy. No,
I need it, but anyway.
My wife is an amazing chef, and oh my goodness, she has got the preparations going on. We're hosting Thanksgiving here at the house, and it's kind of funny. I've got a few of my buddies that I shoot with and whatnot coming over. So I'm sure that we're going to have, the Mantis X down here, doing like drills and whatnot to see who can beat the other one. Yeah, it's weird that the Second Amendment community it's an all-inclusive community. Gun rights are civil rights. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, not the right of the guys down the street at the particular gun club, or not over there. Yeah, this community is amazing. Andy, dude, I've looked up to you from a distance for a very long time because you're an amazing instructor. You've made amazing instructors, and so it's just hilarious to me that I'm able to chat with you tonight. I tell you what, let's get the heck off here, man. Let's thank everybody, right? So Nick Dooley is the voiceover on our introduction. He's the owner operator of Dooley Defense in Pierre, South Dakota. Thanks to Blue Alpha Gear. Thanks to Cedar Valley Outfitters. Thanks to deguns.net, who started contributing to the challenge. Thanks to TACCAT. Thanks to Silver Mountain Instruction for all these guys chipping into the challenge to hopefully raise awareness that the NRA president, Carolyn Meadows, has no pictures of her anywhere of her holding a firearm. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, listening. All of us at Save the Second are volunteers, obviously, right? We're volunteers. And a special thanks to those of you who have believed in our cause and thought to donate to Save the Second. That makes petition drives possible. Thanks to your generosity. It's humbling. It's amazing. What we need most is your involvement. Please, 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 please contact your NRA board of directors. And I'm going to sum it up with this. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Have a great Thanksgiving.